Yeah.
Somewhere like this.
Yeah.
I can
And
spare a
then
charger
these are
here.
like the bad cards.
I would definitely have Take Vengeance over Cavalry.
You would?
Really?
Do you guys like?
Take Vengeance has been. I thought it was underwhelming one point.
Yeah, this has always seemed unimpressive.
Yeah.
A lot of the decks I've drafted are like defensive anyway.
It looks really great, and then
You just use it. And it's just
You
like,
play with it?
Yeah.
it's fine.
Is Stag really? Is
Gets
it
rid of a
really
lot of
is-
stuff.
Okay,
but-
so does anyone agree that this should be over this? Besides
No.
Brandon?
Shouldn't
I think-
Courser come
I think
before
that-
Stag? Do you
Gallant
think they're of
over
equal
it.
value? The
I guess it
three
depends
you
on
think
what
this
deck
is
you're
just-
making.
This. Well, let's finish this up.
That's what it depends on.
Depends on what deck you're making.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah, sure, but
okay,
still, I'll
I
still
can
take
see.
Gallant.
I can see
So like
if you're
if you're
like.
going wide, right, and say you're
Fine
gonna
with
want
that,
this, right?
fine.
If you're gonna run something like this, right?
Right.
But if you're like trying to be controlling like blue white or something, you're gonna want this, right? So I think they're both
Still, sure, of
equally
course.
good.
But
just,
generally, I think
they're
Gallant's
both
better.
if they're both in the pack, it depends what you already have. I think.
I think
to
the
figure
white
out
decks
what
that
you're
have
gonna
been
pick.
most successful that I've seen are like go white strategies with Inspired Charge.
Yeah.
I would say you want to be drafting Inspired Charge
Yes.
and like at least one in your white decks
Mhm.
for them to be good. So that makes me want this over something like Take
Even though
Vengeance.
Angel better there.
Angel is better than this for sure, but
There is
at a
better
certain
here.
point,
It's better here.
I definitely think these two are far better than Cavalry.
you think these two are far better than
Far
Cavalry?
better. I don't know about that.
I think
Maybe.
Pegasus Courser could be better than Cavalry,
I think-
or at
I
least in
think-
the same tier.
I think they're same tier.
But I
Tier
think
two
this
body-
is still worse.
A 2-2
Really?
body on the ground is
This
just
is still
so
worse than
weak.
Cavalry. A 2-2 body on the ground is
It's
weak.
just so
That's
weak in
true.
this format.
But picking up two bodies is really
Two
good.
bodies.
Yeah.
There's Trumpet Blast and Inspired Charge.
Yeah, I think Trumpet
and
Blast
Angel
is
of
better.
Dawn.
And returning the card over and over.
Ugh.
I don't know. This card has seemed sometimes underwhelming, whereas
Really?
this card always just seems good.
Well, it's a 4-drop.
Also, there's a lot of
that's the-
3-2s in the format too, and it's a lot of menace. So having two bodies is like not.
The Vigilance is pretty
irrelevant.
useful.
Yeah, the Vigilance is
Yeah,
good.
this is
I think
If
this
you
is-
have, if you
Also,
pick up
getting
a weapon,
Bugler is great.
yeah,
Bugler's
Bugler with that is very
so-
good.
Stag's just good if you're up against the giant monster.
This is
so
a
you can
combo.
tap 'em.
If I had like two stags in my deck, I would start taking Take Vengeance like much higher.
Yeah.
But initially, I would take Vengeance lower.
The stags would be circling, but the Vengeance would not. I mean, Vengeance will circle, the stags won't.
Potentially.
I don't know.
No.
There's a lot of 4-drops in this format too, though.
All right.
Okay, well, this is clear, right?
Yes.
This one is clearly better.
Yes. Yep.
Do you guys think
I think this is
Angel of
better
Dawn
than-
is
yeah.
the best of these
Yeah.
three? I think.
Yeah, I think
so.
Angel of
Yeah,
Dawn is just
no.
crazy,
I think it sounds ridiculous. Yeah.
and I think the fact that there's so many good go wide pump effects makes this really good.
Sure.
And I think Corsair is strong too, but
Well, I
it's
think,
kind of a different strategy than the go wide.
I think this
You know what I'm
is
saying?
still.
Like this is
this
good
is still
with
there.
bigger creatures.
They're not in the same tier.
You're
man.
still
You,
going
you think
wide,
this
you
is
still go wide
distinctly better
Yes.
than these?
Yes.
Okay.
That's my.
Yeah,
opinion.
that's true. Because I could see first picking this, and I can't see really first picking these.
You would first pick an Angel of the Dawn over
If it's like a
both
really,
of those other cards.
Yes, for sure.
Really? No.
You wouldn't? Okay, fine.
I think the card is just great.
It's a great card, but this is just like it being a 5-drop.
Yeah, well, what other
I've seen-
5-drops are there that you're going to be able to pick up that are good enough in white?
Well, I think just the effect is so good for like what successful white decks
Yeah.
look like in this format.
Especially when you have game life and you can race.
Okay. Second question, or not second question, but next question. Of the 2-drops, what do you guys think is the best 2-drop?
They're all in the same
Clearly,
tier.
they're
different deck
They're just,
designs.
yeah,
different
All
decks,
different
right?
decks.
So there's
So,
different decks, yeah.
I think if your deck is
Red,
very aggressive,
Red, white.
you want this.
Yeah.
Clearly, if your deck
Super in
leans,
love
black,
with that
white.
one.
you're not super in love.
with that one.
Why is that?
That's pretty good.
The one time I was playing it in like red white aggro, it's just because it's sorcery speed. Like I don't feel like the first strike is that great. Like it's not a
No,
combat trick.
It's not. It's not.
Sure,
good.
it's
It's
not.
not.
The
No.
ability is
allows
not a
your
combat
creature to
trick.
punch through.
Yeah, it's just
The ability
punching
is
them
like
from 5
purely
or
a
4.
deal extra damage effect.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like if you're aggressive, it's good. But
yeah,
I
but
agree.
then
I've
I
been
would rather
underwhelmed
the
sometimes.
3-1.
I've been underwhelmed
Uh,
a lot of times by 2-1s though. I made a list of how many ways there are to punish 2-1s in the format, and by punish 2-1s I mean like 1-3s that get value or like things that make like 2-1-1s.
Swift Claws goes great with the
Yeah,
With
but
the
Corsair.
Corsair.
It's still
Yeah.
3-1. It's still 3-1.
turn 2 Swift Claw, turn 3 Courser.
Sure.
Hope the Swift Claw doesn't get pinged
that
out.
Yeah, I mean this looks like an underwhelming body, and then I'm like, okay, well you can sell me on the first strike, but every time I
So
try and pull that first
across
strike's
across
garbage.
common and uncommon, there are 20 cards that can punish 2/1s, like Daybreak Chaplain, Pegasus Courser, Omen Speaker, Aviation Pioneer, Skill the Animator, Archer,
Seeker.
Doom Dissenter. Like there's a lot of ways that 2/1s are really bad. So I do agree that in some decks it's really mediocre, but I can see wanting to play this in like a really aggressive red-white deck that has like the 3/2 Menace and like pushing that through, and then like you follow it up
Yeah,
with
the
Inspired
Bogart
Charge
is
and
very
just
good.
like push them in a kind of a checkmate situation where they're just going to lose their board or lose the game.
I wouldn't consider this card as a first strike card. Consider it as make your creature unblockable and deal 2 extra
For the
damage.
turn, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
'Cause if they
that
block
is
it-
usually how it plays.
If they block it, then you're up a body for free while you're developing your board. If
Yeah,
they don't
best
block
case
it,
scenario
then
is they
aggro.
block after you use this ability.
Yeah,
I mean,
because
getting-
usually what goes down is they're like, "Oh, I'm going to put out a body that blocks your body," and then
Right.
they're like, "Well, you're not going to be able to do anything. They're going to have to develop. You can't develop your board and apply more pressure because my trades are better."
I think they're
And
just
then
gonna-
they play that, and then you're like, "Oh shit, they put
Honestly,
a body
this-
down and I can't block."
no, they're just gonna trump anyway.
Okay,
Like,
but
if
then
they
you
have-
develop
if they
your
jump-
board.
They're losing
and
a
you
card.
build
They're
a
losing
guy.
a card.
Yeah, but I mean, at some point, like,
Then that's fine. I'll keep that trade.
So in all the aggressive decks, you usually have X1s or X2s, which can never get through once your opponent stabilizes the board. So pushing the damage in early with this card is exceptional. And worst case scenario, you're just developing your board and hitting them for like 5 damage. It turns any of your 3-power creatures into a lava axe for the turn.
What's also great is late game when you have something with evasion, a flyer or something, then you put it on the flyer, and then you're just getting in for extra damage. Whereas your Swift Claw isn't going to do anything late game, right? You're just going to land it.
I
and
do
you're
like Swiftclaw for certain decks, to be clear. Like, I think if I wasn't hyper aggressive, if I was just like a very middle of the ground, like mid range deck, I do like the 3/1 because it can attack through more bodies than just the 2/1 body.
Mhm.
Like, if I wasn't really using the pup effect to push through a tons of damage,
Sure.
I would actually rather play this. And last night I made that choice. Like, I had 2 of these and I had 1 of these, and I just played the 1/1 instead of
If you're
playing
not an
both of
aggressive
these.
deck, sure. But if you're an aggressive deck, you have to have this card.
Aggressive white deck.
Yeah. Any,
All right.
any
Well, we can
color.
agree to disagree, but I agree that they're close enough in power level that I would say, like, depending on what your deck looks like,
Sure.
you would want like a different one of these 2 drops for your deck.
I think charge is fine because there's so many various.
Charge,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
it's just
Comes
charge. You
straight.
want it's like you want one of, but the second one gets a lot worse.
And they always table.
Yeah. You want to look for the table, and
Dwarven Priest has been solid for me
Yeah.
in my defensive decks.
In the
It's
deck
just
that you
bad.
want it, it's great.
Yeah,
The
in the
cards
black
are
white deck it's great.
garbage
and
without
blue white it's
synergy.
pretty good. It's not garbage without synergy. If your deck is just slow and like has flyers, I would want to
I
play.
mean, if you
Dwarven
play a
Priest.
4-mana 2/4, you're
that gains multiple life.
probably losing that game.
No, yeah,
I don't know. There's certain
if you're
games that can
racing,
totally
yeah.
swing the race though.
Yeah, if you're racing and
Like if you're blue white
gain
skies
6 life, duh.
and you just exactly gain 6 life, you just completely like it's almost like a time walk at that point. Trusty Pack Beast, I put high just because the combo with Meteor Golem is insane.
Yeah, that's
So-
sure.
Okay.
But understand that I wouldn't normally like.
Yeah.
I would have to have a reason to pick this card. I wouldn't just take it. Mighty Leap seems unimpressive to me.
It has been, yeah.
It's like
garbage.
not
No
great.
coverage,
Revitalize is pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Locks on Breaker is really terrible. Knight's Pledge, I haven't played this card yet.
I've seen it played in some aggressive decks, but
Sometimes your opponents literally just lose to it.
yeah, if you need it, you have
It could
it.
be I can see this being a sideboard card. I wouldn't want to main deck it most of the time.
I mean,
But if I knew I was playing like against green that didn't have
if
removal,
you're doing green, white,
I
blind
might
mirror,
want
and
this.
satyr,
But if I'm in
That's
green white, I want
Yeah, that's
open
fine,
form instead.
true. So yeah, I think ultimately this is just like
And if I'm in
mediocre.
blue, then I
Like
want
probably
Feather
never a good
Tunnel.
deck. Has anyone played the bird?
it's
No.
I've played it.
says
I've
awesome.
played it quite a lot.
Is it good?
Well, it's 2
I would-
toughness.
I think
I would end up
Actually,
picking this
that's
bird in the same pick order as I would these. cards.
You have
Really?
this here.
For different decks, obviously.
I think it's like closer to here than
I
here.
You
agree.
need like real
actually.
reasons to play it.
But it
Yeah.
is-
So,
it is-
so it's
do you
fine to
have
curve
axes in
into
the
that
deck?
for like Trumpet Blast.
No
And
axes.
Inspire Charge.
And
it's
Inspire
a
Charge.
flyer that lives through all
Yeah.
the ping
Like,
effects.
Trumpet Blast,
Also-
sure.
in
But there's
the,
also charges.
it's just a
Yeah,
flyer.
but it
yeah,
just
of
sits
course,
for one.
but,
It's like
mine was
Yeah,
always like-
until you
Yeah.
use something on it and
Sure,
you know,
I could
equip
see.
it even.
I could see
you know.
wanting this if I had like Mentor the Meek or Marauder's Axe or
Yeah.
maybe multiple Inspire Charge effects.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think you would have to have a reason to play this.
Yeah,
card.
I played-
I
I
think
played
just
like
playing
a-
it in your deck is just totally
No,
unreasonable.
you can't.
They play a 2/2 and now they're
It's
outracing
like-
you by
yeah.
double.
I put it here.
I would say it's sure I can get behind. I can see decks that would want this, but I
When
just,
would I ever want that elephant over the 1/2 though?
If you need
Never.
a body,
This elephant's just
yeah,
terrible.
it's
Elephant
very
tribal.
true.
This elephant's
Elephant
terrible.
Soldier Tribal.
Knight of the Tusk.
I mean, that
Card's
one-
actually
Oh, I've
great.
never seen this played ever.
Not yet.
Actually,
Every time I've seen it played, it's like a
Okay.
wall that
Not
just
great.
can't be
it's
stopped.
actually great.
It's a 6-drop. No, it's I would say it's
3/7
bad.
vigilance.
Well, when you're playing white, what do you
Why would
usually
you-
lose to?
You
Usually
lose
lose to
to-
just them having bigger creatures than you.
Sure, but this doesn't help you break through.
No, but
No,
once you
it-
If
block
they just
it-
have a Dreadmaw, then they still just have the Dreadmaw.
yeah, but you can block the Dreadmaw indefinitely.
Sure, but then now you're just stalling the
Losing
board
6
against a deck that presumably has like other bigger things
Like
that would
another
then
Dreadmaw.
challenge your other. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
but
play
the-
2 Dreadmaws, and now what?
The only other option to be not stalling is dying to the Dreadmaw and
Or-
faster.
Well, what I would
Luminous Bonds,
what I
zero
would say
cards.
what I would say is you don't want to be in a situation where this is a card that you need in your deck.
Yeah,
You want to be
that's
somewhere
true.
closer to here, or here, or here. If you have to play this in your deck, it's probably a bad white deck. I would put
6-drop.
it down here, and
Yeah.
then invoke the divine.
sideboard card.
Sideboard card, which is
Actually,
how highly
I
would
would
you take
I
this,
would pick
though?
it over the 2-drops though.
You would pick
I
early
saw
on.
Ben's
Early on, I always want one.
Was it Ben's
Very good to
video
begin with.
yesterday
What's it good
where he
against?
splashed for Luminous
History
Bonds?
reveals
and
there's a
he
bunch of
said,
cards. But
I'm
what do you
gonna,
use it against?
you know, if I pick a invoke the divine, I'm gonna probably main deck it in this. It was a controlling deck.
Interesting.
Here's the thing: out of all these 2-drops,
But
I
it
will
was
see a million of them.
It's true.
I might
Red,
only see
green.
one of those because of how big the set is.
Possibly.
And you-
I just don't know that it's necessarily that much.
What
of
are
a
you looking
priority.
to use it
I don't know.
against?
There's
I'll
some-
try to
Yeah,
grab my
yeah.
first one.
Yeah,
Like,
yours
pretty
probably
aggressively, but then
better,
after that,
okay.
I do the same thing with
So,
naturalized.
so is it kind of like Inspired Charge in the sense that you like
Here,
you want
we'll
access
wait
to
till
one?
this one's done, and
Yeah.
then you can capture
I
all
don't
the
know.
rest of them.
I would never
I
see.
probably should just delete the
If I have
channel
0
so you
2-drop
can start it
and
instead,
0
because you can put all the
Doesn't
sample
matter.
videos.
artifact or enchantment hate, I
Yeah,
would
but-
almost always pick that over a shitty
You can
2-drop.
put the sample videos.
Because I'm not even gonna have a lot of
Okay.
2-drops in my deck to begin
So you like
with.
it here?
No, I'd put it here. I would take
You
it
put it
over
there.
these 3.
But this
every
yeah,
time.
with a deck
What are
box
you
or
looking to use
something,
it for
you get a
against?
pretty
I don't think
good
that's
angle.
correct. I don't think you should do that.
It's
I
worked
think-
pretty good too.
How many 2-drops are you running in your deck?
Well, me or like people in general?
People in
Me-
general.
Me, I've been putting like 0 to 3.
Yours you'll
Right,
have
so
to
have
back
I.
up more.
But even in like a
More of
general
shadow.
aggro deck, you're putting around 4, right?
Sure.
You can pick up 4 of these throughout the whole
Easily.
draft, no matter what.
Okay, I can see that argument, but
So if I'm at the choice where I already picked, like, say, an Angel of the Dawn, I'm gonna pick up that.
I
Second
think it's
pick
still ultimately here,
over
though.
this or these 3.
I think it's still ultimately here
Mm,
because there's not that many enchantments that you need to kill. I mean, there's some, but it's not like
Yeah, but the
Dominaria.
ones that do pop up literally lose you the game. Like, you can't fight a bunch of the enchantments.
Kind of. I mean,
You kill equipment.
some of the rares I can see that, but like the removal is just like it's still 1 for 1. You know what I mean?
he is right. I
But-
might not like if I take Angel of Dawn, pack one, pick one. I might take Invoke over any of those 2-drops.
Second pick.
Yeah.
Interesting.
If there's nothing else in another color, or
Right, well,
anything.
obviously.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
If these are the cards I'm looking at.
yeah, that's true.
who likes Invoke here by show of hands?
It's
Well, I
Like
don't
with
know,
with
yeah.
the 2-drops.
I haven't played.
Well,
no
Yeah,
limited
definitely you
because,
want it.
yeah.
Yeah.
You
I value it over.
do you think
all
it's
this other
here?
I don't think it's
I
here.
don't think it's.
I
I don't
it's
think
lit.
it's here.
I think it's
So
You don't think it's here?
yeah, so you guys
So you,
should
I think it's here.
stuff.
Yeah.
This
Okay.
has so many targets.
Would
It hits
you
Luminous
main-
Bonds, it hits
Now,
Heroics,
would
Cage,
you
it hits
main deck
Dwindle.
more? Would you main deck more than one copy in
Does
any
it-
deck?
yeah.
So, you know.
No, it's just pick order because if I'm
Would
faced
you
with
main-
the choice between these 4 cards
Okay.
and Invoke,
What
and
if we
I'm
put
already
it this way?
one.
What if we put it this way? Like you want the first one around here,
That's
but like once you have the first one,
That's it.
then like where is this card?
I don't think I'll
Like
ever pick up
here?
a second one
Here?
unless it's.
Yeah, I would never
one or
draft
two.
the second one unless there is no other playable.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, that's like
So
on a
by
different,
that
that's on a
logic-
different discussion level, though.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, but my point there is like you should be able to see these late. So I don't think you should prioritize.
I have
them.
not been seeing a lot of effects like that late. Like naturalize, I've seen one naturalize in whole
Okay.
draft.
It's probably
So-
in between.
So you have the choice of these two. What would you take?
I would take vengeance.
I would take it.
Take vengeance.
Okay, so
yeah.
you think it's distinctly
Yeah.
better than this?
Yes.
What about the stag versus invoke?
Oh, that's
I'd take the stag.
yes.
Yeah.
Stag,
Okay.
yeah.
Inspire charge or invoke?
Invoke.
Invoke for sure.
Well, because you see,
Inspired Charge is the thing that I've seen table
yeah,
the
you see
most,
so
actually.
many times. Yeah,
I've seen that table more than anything else here.
Yeah, it's probably
So
you
is
need
it more
more.
like this?
And that one.
Oh, this is
It's more like this.
Sure.
Select
Not because it's better, it's because we see so many more inspired charges.
There's also just so many targets.
Or something. That's how I feel.
Okay.
I've seen so many inspired
This
charges.
is-
All right.
Yeah.
Someone take a picture of this.
We got video.
Oh,
No.
does it see it clearly?
Why are we
Just
recording
take a
a
picture,
video?
You can see
I took a picture.
clearly now.
Did you see the whole thing?
Uh-huh.
Are you doing the uncommons or are you doing other
Let's
colors?
just speed it up. Let's go.
We should definitely add uncommons, right?
Yeah, let's do the uncommons. Right?
That